Okay, guys. Don't know what happened there, but yeah, we're back. So, for your healthcare, universal healthcare. One of the problems that we got with universal healthcare right now is the fact that if government were to go in and provide healthcare, universal, la di da di, everybody, single payer, Medicare for all, however you want to address the universal healthcare problem, is we have enough protectionism going on for the insurance industries, for healthcare industries, that we guarantee high profits. Absolutely high profits, because literally there's a bidding war for time on surgery tables, bidding war for nurses' times, bidding war for a hospital bed. One of the situations that we're looking at right now, we have a shortage of hospital beds, intensive care unit all across the United States, particularly dealing with those who have had complications that are COVID-19 related. It's happening. It's true. Some places have literally had to start flipping coins to decide who gets the bed, or looking at their insurance policies to see whose insurance can actually afford to pay for the bed the longest. Yes. Welcome to for-profit healthcare in the United States, especially when the United States government, federal government in particular, has created de facto monopolies all across, restrictions, protectionism, mercantilism. You go back and actually take a look at the mercantilism. It was a policy set by the government, set by the merchants, actually, where only certain merchants were ever allowed to own or control a particular type of item for sale. Well, that's what we got right now. I'll go ahead and use Idaho as an example right now. Reason why is because in Idaho, we do not have a single payer problem. What we have is a single provider problem. Right now, we have one healthcare provider who manages the bulk of healthcare through the entire state of Idaho. And they pretty much set the standard. They have a monopoly, and pretty much everybody else has to adopt to that monopoly, or they won't survive. We currently have three primary medical groups. The one enjoys close to 90% of the market. The other two split the balance of the 10%. One of them, matter of fact, is just picking up the stuff that the one decides is no longer profitable for them to manage. My case in particular, I had a nephrologist. Yes, I am a cancer survivor. I survived kidney cancer. The nephrologist who looks after me, his nephrology department was cut by the one provider and picked up by another. So this is one of those situations where we have a single provider. We've created a situation in the state of Idaho where that single provider enjoys a certain amount of protectionism. Their profits are guaranteed. The good thing is they at least provide quality care for the profits that come with the degree of protectionism that the state of Idaho provided for them. So that much is indeed a plus. However, we could definitely create a situation where we have more providers, we have more choice, we have more options. If we eliminated not just the state policies about who can and cannot create a healthcare environment, but if we remove the federal policies that continue to provide that level of protectionism across the United States for insurance agencies, healthcare providers, health management organization, all of that. And what does this mean? Well, one, it'd mean more doctors. It would mean more nurses. It would be, hey, Jackie, it would mean more clinics. The policies right now that aren't actually designed for safety or security procedures in hospitals, but are created specifically to enjoy barriers of entry so that established organizations continue to maintain a monopoly. If we could get rid of those barriers to entry so that smaller clinics, the ones that we like to call doc in a box, Just little family doctors that can set up, run their 10, 12-hour shift. You get two or three of them that come together. Two of them will work primary hours. The other will rotate the other 24 shift. One of them, bring in a couple physician assistants and a couple nurses, and boom, you got a 24-hour emergency clinic. Except we got too many policies in the way of creating that happen. One of the other issues we have, Affordable Care Act. Remember that boondoggle? Yes, that boondoggle that was written not to create affordable care. It was written to create a protection racket for healthcare providers across the United States. That's where we're at with that. One of the other things that they did away with when that came into place was insurance policies, insurance rates for physicians who wanted to run free clinics. Yep, state cut you off. Medical insurance, no way to get medication this month. Right? What kind of BS is that? Yep. That's a state death panel, folks. That is the state death panel. Much as we like to complain about what goes on with private insurance companies and the private insurance death panels, yes, the state does conduct their own death panels as well. Yeah, state. But if we create that situation where we have more of those opportunities, more of those capabilities, we're able to reduce. So this is one of the things. It is messed up, extremely messed up, Jackie. One of the things with regards to the libertarian method of healthcare. Got on a Twitter discussion with this earlier regarding somebody, and if you've been paying attention, our vice presidential candidate, he's got a chronic condition, requires near constant health care. In order for him to continue to maintain his performance, maintain the quality of life that he enjoys. So the healthcare, the way we design and create healthcare, he has a very vested interest in making sure it works right and works effectively. It's one of those things where if we remove the barriers to entry, we create the opportunities. We don't limit the number of nurses who graduate every year. We don't limit the number of doctors that can graduate every year. If we reduce that and actually create situations where these doctors can indeed become entrepreneurs, go back into family practice where they're managing their own accounts, where they're managing their own healthcare practice, rather than becoming part of one of these mega healthcare corporations, we'd be in a situation that's a lot better as far as affordability of healthcare goes. Right now, roughly a quarter of the GDP of the United States goes into healthcare. A quarter of the production capacity of the United States is based off of artificially inflated cost of healthcare. Whether that's your pharmaceuticals, whether that's your hospital visits, we are literally the most expensive healthcare in the industrialized world right now. That's how bad things are. We need to do better. Now, there's a number of ways we can go ahead and open up that. Spike Cohen likes to talk about restructuring intellectual property rights, especially with regards to drugs. There are drugs that we have on the market right now that literally there's 27 different patents on the thing. And each one of them is a different patent. They stagger these so that, it'll take 30 years before the patents run out and the intellectual property expires and it can go into generic production. This is a monopoly that makes some of these things that are literally pennies on the dollar to produce worth thousands of dollars in the marketplace. One of them is insulin. Insulin, that was a government patent at one point. The government sold the patent to someone, and now the owner of that patent, is charging $400, $500, a week for insulin. Dude, that patent never should have been sold to a private company. It literally should have gone into open rights, and literally anybody could have produced insulin. You know, this is one of those problems we got with the way government has decided to handle intellectual property rights. So restructuring of intellectual property rights, especially with regards to drugs and healthcare, definitely needs to be one of those things that's high up on the agenda. Other things, barriers to entry, the American Medical Association, the AMA, they have an extremely strong lobbying arm. They are essentially the equivalent of a medical care lobby. They protect doctors, they protect health insurance, they protect HMOs. I mean, that is literally one of the strongest mercantilist organizations in the United States right now. They protect profits in healthcare. One example of what they do, the American Medical Association has made it so that in many states, pharmacists cannot issue prescriptions. And now pharmacists take 8 years of learning pharmacology. 8 years. It's what it takes to become a skilled, licensed pharmacist. You know, being able to run a pharmacy. You know, you got your little apprentice pharmacist, you know, and your journeyman pharmacist, but your master pharmacist, 8 years of education. You know, he can't issue a prescription. Your doctor, who's determined what's wrong with you, who received roughly 3 months of pharmacological studies, is the only one who can write you a prescription. Which is why you get into that interesting situation where you walk into the pharmacy and you say, I would like this because my doctor said I need this. And the pharmacist looks at it and goes, that with your other drugs is going to kill you. What's your doctor's number? You know, call up the doctor and say, yeah, that doesn't mix with the other prescriptions. You're going to have to come up with a different prescription, or we're going to have to alter the other prescriptions. Otherwise, this patient's going to be dead in a week. You know, that's one of the problems we have, because the AMA has created a protection racket for physicians when your pharmacists are perfectly capable of doing the job for you once you have a diagnosis of what your problem is. You know, don't necessarily go to your pharmacist for a diagnosis, but you definitely want to go to the pharmacist to make sure that the drugs you're taking for your problem are indeed the right drugs. It's also one of those reasons why it's important to develop a relationship with your pharmacist, which is really sad because we have a problem with corporate pharmacies as well these days. Walgreens, Albertsons, you know, Fred Meyer's, Winco. No, not Winco. Winco doesn't have a pharmacy. Sam's Club. You know, all of these are essentially corporate pharmacies. You know, they plug and play people all the time. Pick up, move you. You don't really get a chance to develop that relationship with your pharmacist. And yeah, your drug records are on file with them, you know, in perpetuity. But, you know, you can literally be talking to a different pharmacist every time you walk into the store. Yeah. So, what else you guys want to talk about? Yeah, I do realize I'm running a little bit over today, 6 minutes. Of course, that was 6 minutes I lost trying to reconnect in order to get back with part two. But yeah, healthcare. 9/11, folks. Take a little time. Step outside. Think about what we can do to create peace in America. It's time for us to accept so that we can move on and grow. You don't have to forget, but we do have to accept. Love you guys. Family, friends, community. It's how we survive this all. In the meantime, like, love, share. Tell your friends about me. Look at my other platforms. If there's a platform you want to see me on, if there's a platform your friends would prefer to watch these on, whether it's Twitch, I got Twitch, my Twitter platform, YouTube, Facebook. Let me know if there's another platform you want to see my ugly mug on. Yes, ugly mug on. But yeah, like, share, comment, repost, and donate. Because that's what's going to keep my shining face coming to you clear through to November and beyond. Because that's what we want to do as libertarians, right? It's about active ungovernance. We believe in that, right? Active ungovernance. All your liberties, all the time, folks. Also, tomorrow, we have a libertarian meet and greet over in Nampa at the Dynamite Bar and Grill. If you make it over that way, please join us. Get a chance to meet the candidates, get a chance to meet our new chair, pick up signs for Jo Jorgensen. In addition to that, next week, next Wednesday, Jo Jorgensen will be in Boise. On Thursday, she will be in Idaho Falls. Depending on where you're located, if you can make it to either of those events, we'd very much appreciate it. Go ahead and find them on Jo Jorgensen's Facebook page. She's got it on her website. She's got it there. I'll try and reshare it in the next couple of days on my various platforms. Please show up in force. We got more signs. We got more flags at every one of those events. We make sure you have everything you need to show the world that you believe in liberty, the pursuit of happiness, and life. Live big, guys. Catch you later.